Okay, so once you have finished rendering the grayscale, we already finished rendered the textured version of the dagger. So now we want to set it up so that we can render the wireframe. Now for the wireframe, we need to install, or rather we need to assign a black material onto this shaded model. Okay, so right now I'm going to select the entire model. Now before I do that, before you do this, please save another copy. Save the copy and give it an appropriate name. I'm going to call this version wireframe and then save. Now there are some settings, there are some preferences that you need to convert or need to enable before you do the rendering. So right now we want the wireframes on this object, right, to appear white. Okay, so if I go to click on shading on the viewport window here, you want to try and enable wireframe on shaded first. Now previously we set the wireframes to white color. Now the default color for non-selected objects with wireframe on shaded is dark blue. If you want to change the color to white, you must go to Windows, Preferences, Settings Preferences, and click on Color Settings. Under the color settings, there is a category that allows you to choose active or inactive. We want to change the color settings for inactive, meaning objects that are not selected. So under inactive, open the category under objects. Now the default for polygon surfaces is actually dark blue. You notice that I changed it into white. So you can grab the slider and slide it, and if it's blue, this is what the default looks like. So we want it to be, for polygon surfaces, to be white. So move it to white and then save. Okay, so now you have the wireframes on the object, but we want the wireframes to be on a black surface. So now we need to assign a brand new material to your model. So select the model, assign a new material, a surface shader. Okay, by default the surface shader will be black in color. So once you have your model looking like this, you're ready for rendering again. However, there's one more setting you need to do in the render settings. Under the Maya Hardware 2.0, scroll down until you reach render options. Okay, in the render options, make sure you enable the render mode to wire on shaded. Okay, so wire on shader is on. Depth of field, actually you can disable it, okay, if it helps to speed up the rendering. Now remember, if you want the render quality to be good, your anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing must be enabled. Your smooth wireframe on, multi-sample on, sample count bump it to maximum 16. If you do not enable this, the quality of your wireframe will be very jagged. Okay, so once you're ready, you can start to do batch render. I'm going to save the scene and hit batch render. So go to render and batch render. Now I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to rename my new file's output. So please go to common and rename the file output appropriately. Otherwise, you will overwrite the previous file with the name. So I'm no longer rendering the grayscale, I'm rendering the wireframe. So go and change it to dagger wireframe or whichever name your weapon is called. So once you are done, you can go and save again, save the scene. Then you do your batch render and continue. So click on the script editor at the bottom here to check the progress. Okay, so right now it should be rendering. Okay, I think we're out of memory for this. I think I have to stop the recording so that I have enough memory. So right now it's rendering, and if I turn off the video recording, perhaps it has more memory to record. So I'll just stop the recording for now, and once the rendering is done, then I will continue again on the layering in After Effects.